Hey everybody, happy Christmas Eve. I like pina coladas. It's my new drink. So, it's a bit late. But December 7th, 2020 was when I bought the Rambler. And it is December 24th, 2022. So this is going on 2+ years. Now I'm inside my third year. So, from last December 7th until now, let's take a look at what I did. January, attended a misfire. Okay, so I thought that the engine was misfiring. It was. I went through a bunch of stuff. I went through... open up the door here. I went through figuring out what possible things could be going wrong that could cause a misfire. There's all sorts of stuff. That could cause a misfire. Right? I'm going to read some of it out to you here. Okay, possible types of misfire. Random or constant in one cylinder. Bad distributor cap. Bad plug wire. Bad plug. Valve problem, like a mechanical problem. Like there could be a mechanical problem with the way that the valves are working, etc. Piston rod. Piston ring problem. Head gasket problem. There's also random multiple cylinders. This is another type of misfire. Timing is off. Distributor is damp. Bad gas. Fuel blockage. You got a bad rotor on your distributor. You got bad points inside your distributor. Bad coil. Bad coil wire. Faulty or worn distributor assembly. That's a bad one. Engine overheating. Head gasket problem. Vacuum leak. Valve problem. Bad fuel pump. Carburation problem. Overfueling or underfueling. So those are some of the things that I kind of, faced. But basically what happened that solved my misfire, apparently. I mean, the engine still makes that sound, but I went out and I bought a timing light, learned how to use it, and I saw that there was inconsistent flashing with cylinder 5 and 6 and 4. I didn't think that I could get a distributor cap for it, but I did, and it was amazing. I just phoned them. They had it. I went and picked it up, compared it to the old one. I didn't think I could get a new one. That's why I didn't even try, but I definitely would have got a new one at the beginning of the, firing it up. That was one of the things that I would have done. Firing it up, getting the 20-minute break-in line. I would have done that. Because doing the 20-minute break-in, I got new plugs, new spark plug wires. I put a new set of points in the distributor. I put a new rotor in the distributor. I cleaned it all up. I bought a new coil. All that stuff, right? I would have definitely got a new cap for the distributor if I knew I could have. Anyways. And I did some other stuff, like I got like a good vacuum and what do you call it? Secondary timing. I sorted that out. I fine-tuned that with some help from the guys in the forum. So I did some of that. What else do we got here? In February, finally thought to attend to the rusting valve cover. Yep, that's right. I sanded it up, got it all nice and beautiful. I spent a whole day. I sanded it with 220 grit and then with 320 grit. And then after that, I went to 600 grit. Took all day. And then I sprayed it with a top coat, a clear coat. But I made a mistake and I heated it up with a heat gun. And I got it so hot without knowing it that when I sprayed the clear coat on top of it, it actually sizzled and burned. And air has been able to get inside past the clear coat, and it has started to rust again. So that's that kind of sucks, because it's going to be kind of a big deal to clean off all that clear coat and do the job again. Man, those pina coladas are good. Welding a new floor. I did that job from the beginning of, or the middle of December all the way until the beginning of April. That was 3 months. Okay, now imagine going out to the car at night like this in crappy weather and making templates for the floor to be replaced. You know, it sucked. I did that job 3 times. First 2 times I was I was doing it. I was making the templates, but I was kind of looking at things and I just thought to myself, these templates are pieces of shit. You know, I want to do this and I want to feel good about what I'm doing. And so I fucking went back and I did the whole thing all over again. And I bought some like thick, paper board from the art store. And I did some good templates. You know, did a good job with that template job. Yeah, I went out and bought a new welder. I went out and got myself, a gas cylinder so that I could weld MIG style, right? And yeah, I really did it up, and I really made a proper effort at welding in the new floor, and I did a good job as far as inexperienced welding like that. Like welding angles together when it used to be a bend. Like I made like a series of progressions, right? So it looks choppy, it looks blocky, it looks digital. It doesn't look all nice and smooth and photoshopped, because those floor pans that I made are just like straight pieces of metal. It's not like a press. It's not like some sort of wonderful thing that they did back in the day when they could just press a big shape out of huge machinery. I don't know. I don't even know how they did that, but it's probably something along those lines. Anyway, what else was I, gonna mention about that? Yeah, there were times when I would come home from work and it'd be like 9:30 at night and I would drag all the stuff out there and I would set it all up and fire up the welder and like get underneath the car in the dark. And like, you see the car is on like an angle, so it's kind of going down. Imagine being upside down, welding underneath that car in the dark at like 12 o'clock at night, on your back, and basically being upside down because that's an angle. With the welding surface like 5 or 4 inches away from your welding helmet. It was a lot to endure, But I was like, yeah, just get it done, just do it, and be tired later, be in pain later. And so I did that, and I'm pretty happy about the job I did, because the previous owner, what he did is he just had a bunch of pieces of metal that he just like screwed into the rusty floor, and it didn't really, do a good job for the Rambler. It didn't really do a good job. All right, okay, so sometime in the end or middle of March, I was starting to make new throttle linkage pieces. I don't know why I was doing this instead of welding. I guess I got the dates wrong. But I was making new throttle linkage pieces, and I got that done. And so I made the new throttle linkage pieces, and I put on the gas pedal and I welded it to the floor, and I was able to orientate the carburetor in such a way that I was able to use the original throttle linkage. I got that done. That was a real, ordeal. That took about 4 carburetor adapters that I ordered and used, and some of them one of them I returned, the other like 2 I destroyed by accident and on purpose, and the other one is on there, right? So yeah, that was a big deal. A lot of back and forth, a lot of mailing and shipping and receiving and ordering and trying this and trying that. Sometimes you don't know until you have the metal in your hand and you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, this is what I need. This fits. The bolts are going through all the holes from fine and stuff like that. This is going to work. Sometimes you don't know until you actually buy it and wait for it to show up in the mail, right? What else did I do here? April 6th. Okay, yeah, took out the fuel sending unit. Again, I took it out because I forgot to coat it to protect it from rusting. And so after I did that, I coated it with POR 15, put it back in, and then it wasn't working. And then I dropped the tank again, took it out, and then I, ordered a new one. And then I ordered a new one from a supplier that, sent me one, and it cost me like more than like $100 because it's a classic car piece, etc. And I made the new gasket, and I also did some work on the gas tank. I redid the gas tank. The flange where the fuel sending unit goes, it was damaged. Basically, long story short, it was damaged, and I needed to like refortify it with some welding. And what I did is, since those screw holes were no longer comprised of enough metal for screws to actually bite into it and hold in the fuel sending unit, what I had to do is I had to drill out and tap with a tap and die set, threads for a 1/4-inch bolt so that I could secure the fuel sending unit to the gas tank that way, and so that was kind of a big pain in the ass, but I'm glad I did it. So I got the new fuel sending unit on there, and it still didn't work. So there's a brand new fuel sending unit in there that works. It's just something's going on, like between the sender and the gauge and the dash. Something's not working out right. I don't know what it is. It's possible that it's just the gauge and the dash. I don't know. But I hooked up a new wire from the sender unit and put a ground on, and I put it all the way over to the post on the gauge, and nothing happened, and I don't know why. I mean, that other ground wire on the other post is grounded. It is, right? And that other wire going to the sender, I replaced that. But, I mean, I just connected it on there with, like, one of those little connectors where it's just, like, the thing with the circle in it, the hole in it, and you're putting it on a post. I took that connector and I just stuck it on the post. So the metal was contacting the metal of the post, but I don't know enough about electronics to know if just that contact was enough to communicate the signal to the gauge. I don't know. But I did buy another type of connector to put onto the wire, but I just haven't done it yet. Anyways, so I did that. Okay, basically, drop that gas tank like 4 times. Oh, okay, I bought a can of asphalt spray to cover the underside of the new welded floor underneath the car, and I kind of regret doing it because I kind of think that there would have been a better way to coat it and protect it, with some like undercoating. So I've been thinking every once in a while to get under there with a wire wheel and just wire wheel off all that asphalt spray in a can, and then do something else, like coat it with paint or some other type of undercoating or something. Okay, starting in April, I started buying new stuff for rebuilding the brakes. Yeah, okay, listen to this. After a bunch of buying and returning, I now have 2 new rear drums and a replacement front driver's side drum to put on. Yeah. I also bought 2 new rear wheel cylinders, a set of new shoes for the rear, and 1 set of hold-down springs. Yeah. Alright, okay. So I bought those drums. I found out that you should take them to a shop and get them turned down in a drum lathe because sometimes they're out around from the factory. I sent 3 drums to the shop. 1 was out around, so that was worth it for sure. Clean up all the brake parts. I decided not to use the new ones because the old ones were still good. Been doing this and that with the brakes and stuff like that. I'll get more into that in a second so that it's like a chronological speech. Um, yeah, the throttle linkage to the carburetor with the new mounting of the carburetor was successful. I just needed to, give it a little bit of adjustment because it's stressing the grommet, and I don't like that. Yeah, I rebuilt all the brakes, and I guess that's basically like the. Oh no, that's not all. I repainted the wheels. I took a wheel off the car, took it down to the shop, got the old tire taken off, brought back the wheel, sanded it, cleaned it, repainted it, put a new tire on. So I did that. So it's got freshly painted wheels, thoroughly freshly painted wheels. It's got new tires on there. So with that, I did that. And rebuilding the brakes. I've been rebuilding the brakes for a while. It takes a long time for me to do work. I think I must be slow. But I completely rebuilt all of the brake lines and put on new soft lines. And the whole thing leaked because I didn't know what I was doing and I was dumb. And I didn't double invert the flares. I only single flared it. And when you do a single flare, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to have a sleeve that goes over top of the single flare, and it presses it on, and it gives it some strength. It gives it some support so that it can work. But what I did is I just used a single flare with the usual double inverted flare nut, and the whole thing leaked. There was two tiny little gray or copper washers that I was supposed to have in between something that's sometimes called a banjo fitting by the brake master, the master cylinder for the brakes, and it leaked there, and it leaked everywhere. It leaked everywhere. I made a big mess. So yeah, so all that brake fluid went all over the freaking ground. I saved a little bit of it, and then I started having a big problem. With sourcing and finding a new 5-port junction block for that master cylinder that I was going to use, and I couldn't find it, and I was going to have to make a disgusting looking Frankenstein of a mess for making the 5-port junction block kind of work for me, and I didn't want to do it. And so what I did is I thought, well, what can I do to avoid that? Well, I can use a different master cylinder, and so I decided to do that. So the brand new master cylinder that I have, which is a single piston master cylinder, is sitting in my kitchen, and I'm not going to use it. And I bought a dual reservoir master cylinder, which weighs like twice as much. The thing weighs more than 8 pounds. It's huge. It's cast iron, it's huge. I took it all apart. I painted it, let the paint cure in the oven. I cooked it. I sprayed it with a top coat to protect it from brake fluid. I mounted it with a huge amount of effort. It took like all day. Well, it took actually more than all day. It took a long time, like a couple of days and like a couple of trips to the store. Like I had to buy like a grinding cylinder that's like a drill carbide bit. Cost more than like $50, but that doesn't matter. I don't care. Did some work that, did a couple of things that I kind of want to maybe redo, but it's on there, and now I've built up some hard lines around that area that are going to the different new locations for their connections and stuff like that with the new master cylinder. I was out here in the snow this week, doing what I could, and I got a lot of work done. I think that I only have one more brake line to put on and one other one to make from the passenger front side to the master cylinder connections. One of them is going to go into a brass T that's over there. And I think that's it. So what I've done in 1 year, is I've orientated the car where I want it to be. I finished welding in the floor. That is done. The floor is completely fixed. Some spots in the inside of the wheel wells are fixed. There's not a lot of holes left in this car. There's a couple, like over by the rear wheels, over in the wheel well, that I can fix up, and inside the trunk. And there's like surface rust and stuff like that inside the chassis, but there's not much I can really do about that, as far as I think or know. But yeah, so I've refortified the car. There's no more rust holes in it. It's awesome. I've orientated the carburetor to the firewall. I've built and made and got working the throttle linkage that goes, so like I could sit in the car and like press the gas pedal and it will interface to the carburetor like it should. I've accomplished that. I've accomplished welding in the floor. I got all the wheels repainted, so they're restored. There's no more rust on them. The paint's not damaged. I put on new tires. There's new tires there. I've fixed misfiring problems. I restored the distributor a little bit. I took the what's it called? I took the radiator out and I took it to a shop and got it boiled out just in case it was, unhealthy, and it's fine. Oh yeah, and I also found out that I put the wrong water in there, so I got the water system, sorted out. Oh, there's also a bunch of leaks and stuff like that, coolant leaks that I kind of ran into and fixed. I restored and repainted the front of the firewall in the engine compartment, so it looks nice and shiny and new. Yeah, and all that work on the brakes that I just talked about. And I also put a new fuel sender in the gas tank. Put the gas tank back on. So that's good news. So I did all that stuff. Yeah, in a year I've done all that stuff. Yeah. Yep. That's a lot of stuff that I've done in a year. A lot of stuff, a lot of effort. I remember when I first started working on this car, somebody told me, "Oh yeah, we should go for a ride in your car sometime when you get it all fixed up." And I said, "Oh yeah, that'll probably take about a year." And I remember thinking, that a year is like a long time. And now here I am. It's like more than 2 years, and I'm still not done. Yeah, so I figure after I sort out the brakes and after I, finish working on the throttle linkage a little bit more, just a little bit more, get it right so I won't stress the grommet. After I do that, okay, so what I want to do is I want to finish the brakes, and then after that, I want to go back in the engine compartment, get the throttle linkage buttoned down, done. And then after that, I want to go back under the car, change the differential oil, put on a new gasket. I bought two just in case. Look into the transmission oil, change that oil. And then after that, I don't know, man. I think that getting into the gauge, the fuel gauge, I don't know, man. That's a scary idea, because it's not easy to tell how to access the instrument cluster. Like, I can't easily see how that's possible. Like, I just haven't figured it out yet. I've asked a couple of guys in the forum, and they told me just take out the screws, but just between me and you, they've forgotten that I don't have an American. They forgot that I have a big car instead of a small car. And then after that, fix those couple of rust holes I told you about. And then after that, then go back into the car and try and fix that frickin' shifter. It's a sloppy shifter. I need to fix it. Or I want to try to. And then after that, take it out for a couple test drives. And then after that, get myself personalized license plates that say Tom. And then after that, start trying to fix the interior up a little bit. But I hope it doesn't take me another year. I mean, the jobs that I just listed off to you that I did in a year, I hope that I'm able to do all the jobs that I just told you I need to do in less than a year. That'd be nice. All right, everybody. Once again, Merry Christmas. I hope that this year's been good to you and you're happy and safe with your relationship with the world and yourself. All right, everybody. 1958 AMC Rambler Super part, I guess 119. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.